this video, what we're going to be talking about is how to find out who you truly are. Because here's the thing, is that a lot of us have a false sense of self that is dependent on being attached to thought forms. We confuse our sense of self for a false sense of self that is dependent on thoughts. We attach to our thoughts unconsciously, because here's the thing, is that a lot of us keep a lot of our attention and our focus in the thinking mind without necessarily realizing that we're doing this. And so when you're attached to the thinking, you confuse those thoughts to be who you are. You have a false sense of self that is dependent on nothing more than thought forms. You have an identification with those thoughts. And then when you're absorbed into the thinking, essentially what this means is you're in your head without realizing it. Not only are you in your head, but you're in your head without realizing it. And then when you're in that state of being in your head, you confuse thoughts for your sense of self. And then when you're attached to the thoughts in this way, this creates a lot of anxiety, fear, and worry. Some people call this the ego. And the ego is nothing more than a word to represent the unobserved mind, because when you don't have observation of your thinking, you absorb into those thoughts and confuse that to be who you are. And this involves experiences from the past. You confuse experiences from the past to be who you truly are. Because when I started to meditate 3 years ago every single day, what I found is that I don't need to be so absorbed into my thinking, but I can simply observe those thoughts, kind of like I'm observing clouds in the sky, just flowing by, just watching the clouds. I can simply observe my thoughts and not be so attached to them. And so when I began to do this, what I found is that there was a lot of patterns about who I thought I was, and my sense of self began to completely change. My sense of self, who I think I am, is not necessarily dependent on the thoughts in my head, because a lot of us believe that we are our thoughts. And we do this unconsciously. And it's really hard to understand this unless you take a step back and observe those thoughts. You don't attach to them, because you start to realize that thoughts are nothing more than thought forms that come in the form of patterns. It's like there's waves where they come in waves, and the patterns tend to relive themselves over and over. And those patterns are not who you are, because who you are goes far deeper than a thought. There's a deeper sense of self that comes way, way before the thoughts. It's this sense of self that you can only experience in the present moment. So when you're experiencing that sense of self, it's a deeper sense of self that goes far beyond the thought forms in your head. It's a sense of awareness, because here's the thing, is that there's this beauty and there's this aliveness and there's this depth to the moment that we may not necessarily be aware of, because we're so caught up in the thinking without realizing it. We're so caught up in the thinking that we don't realize the beauty of the moment that's always there. It's literally always there, but we may be missing of it. We may be unconscious of it. We may not be aware of this beauty because we're so caught up in the thinking. And so the key is to observe the thoughts, but then also realize the beauty and the depth and the aliveness to the moment that is always there. The sensation of your breathing, the feelings in your body, the sounds that you're hearing, whatever it is that you're experiencing, what you see. And so these things are going to connect you deeper into the moment. And then the more you begin to become aware of the moment, when you step out of the thinking mind and go deeper into the moment, check out my video on how to meditate. It's an amazing video that is going to teach you to step out of the thinking and enter the present moment. The more you begin to do this, you start to find a deeper sense of self that is not attached to the thought forms, the conditions of the past. How can the conditions of the past be who you truly are? Think about that for a second. It's just conditions from the past. It's social conditioning, external influences, thoughts from outside sources coming into your head, and you think that's who you truly are? That can't be who you truly are, because it's nothing more than a conditioned thought form. And so there's a deeper sense of awareness that goes before and transcends the forms that come in reality, the thoughts, the emotions, the feelings. There's the awareness of those things There's the awareness. There's a deeper sense of self that comes from the present moment, not from the thought forms. And this is super hard to communicate, but the fact is, you're not living in a place of time and projecting yourself into the future. You're living in this moment right here, right now. And the more you begin to connect it as part of yourself, the more you begin to connect to your true life purpose, what you're truly meant to be doing, you're not going to be so attached to the thought forms. You're not going to be so reactive. You're going to be more in line with your passion most of the time, because when you're in your passion, you also enter this true state of who you are. You enter the flow state. Whatever passion you love doing, you enter that state a lot quicker when you're in the flow state, when you're very present to the moment. When you're passionate about something, you enter the present moment. And when you're present to the moment, you usually end up getting closer to your passion. So there's a deeper sense of self that goes beyond the thought forms. Think about this. Actually, don't think about it. Experience the moment and realize that your thoughts are not who you are. So that's all I have for you today. If you like this kind of content, then consider hitting that subscribe button and that notification bell, because I post a video every single day. If you want to go a little bit deeper into the present moment, stop these reactive patterns from blocking your true potential, finally stepping into your power, finally becoming who you're meant to be, the true self that goes beyond the conditioned past, then consider applying for a free consultation that is in the description box of this video. Just hit that website and apply for a free consultation. I'm more than happy to connect with you and find out if we're a good fit, because I do powerful one-on-one sessions. Have yourself a great day and see you in the next video.